And you can't live your life based on like what other people are gonna think, how other people are gonna feel, because at the end of the day, it's you, it's your life.
Right.
So it's gonna make you happy.
Didn't Diddy's son date her?
Yes!
We weren't ready for what Lori Harvey unleashed in that courtroom. Her voice didn't crack, but it cracked open everything. Poised and polished, she painted a scene so dark it sent chills down the spine of every person watching. The whispers that once danced in the shadows came crashing into the spotlight. This wasn't just another scandal, it was an earthquake, shaking the house of Harvey from the inside. Lori didn't just testify, she detonated. She claimed she too had been dragged into Diddy's world of manipulation and madness. The golden girl of Instagram, the Fashion Week front row fixture. The daughter of Steve and Marjorie Harvey said she had been forced to attend those infamous freak-off parties. Just like Cassie, just like the others. The same disturbing rituals. The same power games. But this time, the allegations weren't coming from the fringes, they were coming from the very heart of black celebrity royalty. Lori alleged she
Well, the things that I experienced with him were monster-like. That stuff almost destroyed my life.
was coerced into situations with other men while Diddy silently watched, documenting every moment like some sick film director scripting real-life trauma. She described the rooms, the pressure, the eyes on her. Lori said this wasn't consent, it was conditioning. She said she was groomed, told to be quiet, told to obey, all while the cameras rolled and the king of parties sat back, recording, controlling, collecting footage that would haunt her forever. And just like that, the courtroom wasn't just a room, it was a reckoning. For Diddy, for the Harvey family, for everyone who thought silence could outlast the truth. Because now, Lori Harvey was speaking and the world was listening. The courtroom went cold as Lori Harvey detailed the nightmare she once called normal. It wasn't just what happened, it was how. The luxury hotels cloaked in silence, the velvet ropes hiding trauma, the constant hum of hidden cameras, and always Diddy, watching, silent, calculated, like a director crafting his next blackmail project. Lori said this wasn't about pleasure, it was psychological warfare. She described how her soul was chipped away, day by day, until nothing was left but a doll in couture, paraded for press and paparazzi while she died inside. But the bombshell didn't stop with Diddy. Lori pulled the mask off her own bloodline. She testified that Steve and Marjorie Harvey allegedly knew. Worse, they benefited. She claimed her inclusion in these elite circles wasn't accidental. It was orchestrated. A silent exchange, access and endorsements in return for silence and availability. Allegedly, Steve's entertainment empire and Marjorie's lifestyle perks were greased by keeping Diddy satisfied, even if it meant handing their daughter to the wolves. And in that moment, the glimmering Harvey empire turned to ash. The courtroom was breathless. Not from the glamour, but from the horror. Lori said the final crack came when she confronted her parents and saw not sorrow, but fear. Not for her, but for their brands. From that moment on, she cut ties. No holiday calls, no brunch selfies, just silence. According to insiders, she now refers to them in language too explicit for the stand. The motivational speeches, the family man image, all curdled. Because if her claims hold, Steve Harvey wasn't a protector. He was a producer. And his daughter, the price of admission. Testimony didn't end with pain, it ended with danger. She referenced something prosecutors had only whispered about, the vault. The legendary Diddy blackmail stash. For years, insiders claimed he recorded everything celebs, execs, athletes, even politicians in the most compromising situations imaginable. Lori said she was filmed repeatedly. Different cities, different men, always watched, always stored. And she wasn't alone. She said Cassie was filmed, others too. This wasn't rumor anymore. It was evidence, power, leverage. That alleged vault isn't just a tabloid myth now, it's the heartbeat of the prosecution. If it exists, and if it surfaces, it could bring down Hollywood, boardroom by boardroom. One former assistant even claimed the tapes were encrypted, stored like currency, like nuclear codes. Lori's words didn't just rattle a courtroom, they cracked the industries for. Because if even half of what she says is true, then this isn't just a trial, it's a reckoning. And the real question now is, who's next? Industry insiders have started lawyering up, wiping social media, and distancing themselves from Diddy. Like he's radioactive. Lori's words didn't just threaten one man's empire, they rattled the bones of an entire network built on silence, leverage, and fear. Because if the vault exists, and if prosecutors get their hands on it, it won't just be Diddy's legacy going up in flames. It'll be every Alistair exec and mogul who ever stepped into those candlelit, camera-wired hotel rooms thinking they were untouchable. According to a former staffer, the so-called vault wasn't just myth, it was a fortress. Hidden inside Diddy's Miami estate, protected by biometric locks and motion detectors. It was a no-go zone. No assistants, no housekeepers, no questions. And if even a fraction of what Lori says is true, the contents of that room could shift the cultural axis. We're talking names, footage, insurance policies on everyone from Grammy winners to senators. This wasn't pleasure. This was power recorded, cataloged, and weaponized. Lori's story cracked open the unspoken rule of elite circles. Loyalty isn't earned, it's coerced. The freak-off parties weren't random orgies, they were rituals. According to one bodyguard, they felt ceremonial. Phones were locked up. Guests were handpicked. You weren't just invited, you were summoned. And once you participated, whether willingly or through pressure, you were compromised. That's how control worked. That's why silence lasted so long. You weren't afraid of embarrassment. You were afraid of exposure, and that's what makes Lori Harvey's testimony so dangerous. She was in it, protected by the Harvey name, dressed in Givenchy, flanked by cameras that adored her. She was supposed to be safe. But she wasn't, and now that she's talking, everyone who thought their sins were locked in that vault is sweating bullets. This isn't just about a blackmail stash, it's about decades of complicity, normalized abuse, and a code of silence that Lori just blew to pieces with a single oath on the witness stand. About fatherhood or just reading from a script. The comment sections have turned into courtrooms, and the verdict is not looking good. Viewers are calling him a hypocrite, dragging up moments where he boasted about protecting his daughters, while his real daughter now claims she was thrown to the wolves. It's the kind of downfall you don't recover from because this isn't a PR hiccup, it's a moral implosion, and the receipts just keep piling up. Financial records, connections between Diddy's companies and the Harvey brand, and now whispers of NDA settlements being passed around to keep the past in the past. But Lori's not playing that game anymore. According to one source close to her legal team, she's declined multiple hush money offers. Her goal isn't compensation, it's exposure, a reckoning. She wants the names, the tapes, the truth, out in the open. Even if it means burning bridges built over decades. The pressure is getting louder, not just for Diddy, but for everyone who clapped for him on red carpets and danced in his mansions. Insiders say more celebrities are scrambling behind closed doors, lawyering up, calling in favors, and praying their names aren't on any of those hard drives. One insider hinted that 2 Grammy-winning artists have already been subpoenaed. If the prosecution proves the vault exists and gets access, it could unravel careers faster than any cancellation ever could. And Lori, she's become a symbol, not just of survival, but of rebellion against the machinery that once glamorized her silence. She's no longer the soft-spoken daughter of daytime TV royalty. She's a whistleblower wrapped in Balenciaga. And the irony. The same fame that once trapped her in those hotel rooms is now the spotlight she's using to burn it all down. The question now isn't if the house of cards will fall, it's who gets crushed underneath when it does. But now, the world wants to know you. Steve, the real you. Not the stage-managed persona. Not the clean-cut suit with the toothy smile, but the man behind the curtain, because the curtain's coming down. The same industry that once clapped for your family's black excellence is now side-eyeing every deal, every inspirational quote, every staged photo op. And while Steve and Marjorie double down on deflection, the silence is screaming. If they weren't complicit, why not speak? The court of public opinion isn't waiting. Social media sleuths have already stitched together timelines, financial overlaps, and party guest lists, and what's surfacing doesn't look like coincidence. It's a web, a network of mutual protection, wrapped in NDAs and luxury perks. The real power players weren't just artists. They were the handlers, the gatekeepers, the advisors who knew what was going on and made sure it never saw the light of day. But now, thanks to Lori's testimony, that light is pouring through the cracks. It's not just a fall from grace. It's a systemic audit. And as more names begin to quietly vanish from red carpets and cancel appearances, the question becomes, who's next? Because once the industry's golden girl steps forward and exposes the dirt within her own family, no one is safe. The Steve Harvey empire wasn't just built on jokes and books. If what Lori says is true, it was built on silence. And that silence has expired. Which brings us back to Lori Harvey, the girl they once painted as a fashion darling, now standing center stage as the storm herself. Her decision to speak out, not just against Diddy, but against her own bloodline, in an industry that thrives on silence, might just be the match that burns the whole facade down. This isn't just about taking down a mogul. It's about unseating a culture that's protected predators and punished truth-tellers. If Lori's story cracks even one door open, how many more vaults will spill? Because what she did standing up in court and dragging skeletons from the closets of both Bad Boy and the Harvey empire isn't just bravery. It's rebellion. And Hollywood hates a rebellion it can't script. The real question now isn't whether Diddy falls. It's whether the system falls with him. The same agents, execs, and gatekeepers who kept their eyes closed are now praying the footage stays buried. But silence no longer equals safety. If the vault exists, and her tapes are real, then this trial is just chapter 1. Think about it: how many Loris have stayed quiet? How many Cassies are still living in fear? And how many icons built careers on secrets they knew would never be spoken? Hollywood has sold us fantasy for a century. But now the lights are flickering, the strings are showing, the mask is slipping. And Lori Harvey, the one they tried to dress up in silence, might be the one to force the industry to look itself in the mirror and gag. And here's the wild part: federal prosecutors are now circling her testimony like vultures. This isn't just a social scandal. It could be a criminal RICO-sized reckoning. If that vault gets subpoenaed, if those names drop in black and white, careers will end overnight. Reputations won't just be tarnished, they'll be obliterated. Because this is deeper than gossip. This is the rot under the red carpet. So we'll leave you with this. If Lori Harvey's truth is only the beginning, what's still locked behind that vault door? Who's next to crack under pressure? And will Hollywood finally pay for the ghosts it's ignored? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk. Until next time, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and remember, every empire falls. Even the pretty ones.